Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. Can we start by taking your name, please?
Yes, it's Rosie.
Can you tell us a bit about the industry that you work in as well as your job role, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work in higher education and have done for many, many years, mostly in student support. And more recently, I've just moved into a role that's more of a program management role. So looking after external grants and contracts and partnerships and the kind of projects within those that might look like a mobility scheme or a grant contract or something like that.
Why did you decide to take a Prince2 course?
So I moved back to the UK from New Zealand about 6 months ago now, and I've been working directly in student support in New Zealand. And when I came back to the UK, I found it quite hard to find even a similar role, actually. So even though my previous roles really had all involved project management, I found that because it wasn't specifically in my job title and because I didn't have any qualifications in project management, it wasn't necessarily getting recognised when I was applying for jobs over here. And I found that lots of roles were asking for a project management qualification. And so I started by doing an online certificate in project management, but just found it was really quite vague. And I didn't feel like it was actually giving me a framework that I could take forward and use in the workplace, or really talk about in an interview more than I kind of knew already. So Prince2 is obviously globally recognised and importantly for me used both in the UK and New Zealand because I would like to go back in the future. So it was really after kind of applying for a handful of jobs and not getting anywhere and getting feedback that they were really looking for a specific qualification that I decided to use some of that time that I was job hunting to do my Prince2 qualifications.
After taking the Prince2 course and now that you are in a program management role, how do you feel working in projects and programs?
So I actually found pretty immediately that what I'd learned in the course was kind of immediately applicable to what I was doing. So I was still doing a bit of freelance work over the summer for my previous employer, and we were looking at a project to try and get some employability and careers support stuff set up for the faculty. And it had been a really kind of slow project and it had taken a long time to get off the ground, and there were kind of lots of people who were kind of tangentially involved and it just wasn't really going anywhere. And I was kind of able to just use everything I'd learned in the Prince2 course and just apply some real structure to the project and then just kind of move it forward like that. And it actually got it off the ground really quickly and meant that the core project team just knew what they were meant to be doing and actually what our timelines were and our kind of development stages. So I kind of was immediately able to put it into practice on quite a low stakes project. And then as I was applying for new jobs, the job that I actually ended up getting had an assessment as part of the application, which was to plan a project essentially. So you were given a kind of project brief and it was a half-an-hour test where you had to plan out kind of whole timeline of the project, the documents you would create, the kind of questions that you would ask to make sure it was set up in a way that would allow it to be successful. And I don't think I could have actually done that had I not done the Prince2 course, really. I would have been floundering. I have my textbook next to me, which was really useful. So I really would credit the course that I did with contributing to me getting the job that I'm doing now. I find we don't use Prince2 as the kind of official framework in my current organisation, but just having that checklist for the kind of documents that you need for a successful project just means that I always have that to refer back to. And I actually use the textbook quite a lot when I'm, say, making a risk register or an issue log or thinking about a communication management framework, just referring back and making sure, kind of checking for my own benefit really, that even though we're not using Prince2, I've done everything that is going to kind of enable that to be a successful project.
How How did you find the process for moving from a student support to a program management role?
So within my student support jobs, there was quite a lot of program management, even if on project management, even if it wasn't kind of defined as such within my job title. Um, so it wasn't necessarily a kind of completely new move for me. It was really about kind of having it officially recognised within my job, my kind of job brief and my job title, and also having a framework that I can actually work to rather than it just kind of being everyone muddling along and just kind of doing kind of idiosyncratic faculty project processes. Um, so I would say it's not been too much of a shift that way, but I do feel much more like I'm moving. I kind of didn't want to get boxed into student support as my career, and wanted the opportunity to be able to in the future maybe move into tech or um, kind of different industries. And I feel like working in this role, which is much more specifically program and project management, I can definitely see how in the future I could take that elsewhere. So it's kind of, I'd say, more applicable and kind of opened up what project management and program management is for me.
How did you find the Prince2 course?
I found it really, really great, actually. It was really interesting because I've worked in higher education my whole career, but everyone was from such diverse backgrounds. We had so many kind of mini case studies, I guess, within the actual course, that I think made it really easy to pick up all the kind of theoretical information and then apply it very, very quickly, given that we just had 5 days. And it actually really helped personally that my tutor was an academic themselves, and so kind of understood the academic context of project management as well as all the other industries that we had. I thought it was because I did the online course, and I was quite apprehensive having come off 2 or 3 years of online working. I really thought that staring at a screen from 9 to 5 was going to be really hard. But our tutor had definitely kind of put a lot of thought into her teaching and her, I guess, pedagogy around how you structure an online course. And we had it was really interactive, really broken up into little chunks. And she did a really good job actually of getting us to all talk to each other, which, I mean, anyone that's run an online event knows you can just kind of stare at a sea of blank faces on your screen. And I ended up sitting one exam on the Tuesday and the other on the Friday, and passed both of them in the 80s, I think. So I was really, really happy with everything about the course, really. I think it was just from online research, really. I went through the official Prince2 website's kind of list of accredited courses, and then I have to say one thing that appealed to me about Knowledge Train was that the information was just there on the website for you to make your own informed decision. I found a couple of competitors were just really spammy and would call you and just kind of not give you the information you wanted. So I just appreciated being able to make my own informed decision and not kind of treated like I was at a car sales shop or something. I guess, yeah, it was just all that information on the website that the course just fit with what I needed. I needed to kind of have it turned around quite quickly. So the fact it was within a week really appealed to me. And I liked that it was all instructor led. I didn't want to do a kind of part self-led and then part taught. I really just wanted to be in that classroom environment, but not have to commute into London. That was a big benefit for me.
Would you recommend Knowledge Train to friends, family, or colleagues?
Yeah, absolutely. Even within my current role, I'm really keen to do managing successful programs. And I've kind of mentioned it to my equivalent within the team, and we're going to raise it in our next performance reviews next year about potentially doing that together.